Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You know, before there was Swifties, there was Guildies. And actually, before there was Guildies, there was probably there probably were people, I don't know, if there were fandom back in the day, and then there would have been Wildies. When did fandom start getting name like cute? And I'm not saying this in a derogatory way, cutesy names, because they are cute. But Guildies could also be a term you use to I guess if you're a Swiftie, you say I'm a Swiftie, right? To another Swiftie. If you're a Guildie, but you could be in the same guild or a fan of the guild. That's what I was referring to. But then before there was fans of the guild, even though the spelling's different, Gilda Radner's fans could have been Guildies, or they could have been Radneries. Guildies is better for sure. And then Genies, but Wildies, either one works for Gene Wilder. Richie's, Priors, Priors is. Anyway, if you're confused, you're in the right place. This is Sleep With Me. Believe it or not, it's a podcast to put you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story eventually, though tonight our bedtime story will be based on some episodes from season 1 of The Guild. And maybe give you a chance to discover something new or bring you back to the heyday of the aughts, maybe? I don't even know. But it's time for Sleep With Me. Yeah, this is a podcast that's here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you can fall asleep. But the show's very different. I mean, clearly, right? You might some of you might not know who Gilda Radner is or Richard Pryor or Gene Wilder, and that's fine too. Or the Guild, the web series. There's other Guild, obviously, or but you may be confused. You say, why do you have to over-explain everything? Well, part of my job. But just to see how it goes, most regular listeners, people that even call themselves super fans, did not like this show when they first got here because it was different than what they expected. And that's totally understandable. So just see how it goes. You got nothing to lose. I really am here to help you. I have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. If you already know the show's not for you, but just see how it goes if you can. What we got coming up, support, so paying for the show is optional. Long meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then eventually later on, we'll be talking about the Guild season 1. I don't know if we'll get through every episode or not. And believe it or not, the Guild has a very strong connection to this podcast as far as influencing me to do the work that would become the podcast. So I got a lot to thank the Guild for. So yeah, here we go. It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, this is Scooter, and this one's for super listeners. You listen 4, 5, 6, 7 nights a week. You've listened 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or more. In this podcast, there's no other replacement for you. This podcast is a part of your life. I just said it. Podcast is part of your life. You're a part of this thing. And, that's really important to me. Being here night after night after night, year after year after year. But super listeners, we built Sleep With Me Plus with you in mind because you're different than a regular listener. The show's a part of your life. For a lot of other people, it's just something that they go when they need it. They listen to a few episodes before their job interview or as they're getting over their breakup or whatever it is that's going on. And they wind down during the intro, they fall asleep during the story, and then they come back to the show when they need it again. But if this show's a part of your regular routine, we built Sleep With Me Plus with that in mind, with people who listen every night, with people that have opinions about the show. You like certain things, other things don't work for you. You could build your playlist. Everything you want to find is on Sleep With Me Plus, whether it's all intros, story-only episodes. And you could try it out with a free trial and see if it's a better experience. And you can check that out at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks. All right, buddy. This is Scoots. We're talking about the Guild. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about why am I going to talk about the Guild. Then we'll try to cover season 1. I don't know if it'll take 1 or 2 parts. And probably at this point, I've already talked about it in other places, but why, like we could, like at this point, since the writers and actor strikes, we haven't really got back. We haven't really recorded any TV recap episodes. The Great British Bake Off ones that came out, we recorded before the strike. And so currently I've just kind of been bouncing around between really old stuff, or stuff that comes up on the podcast repeatedly that's at least like older. And this is just another thing that's like it's from a little while back. It's a kind of a history, like relates to the history of the podcast. And we'll see, at some point, there's one more like looming, negotiation going on when I'm recording this. So I just don't want to start investing a lot of time and energy in recapping a TV show and then having to set it aside and then look at, so we'll see. We'll probably get back. I mean, the show's still following the same rhythm. And much like the silent movie ones, it gives us a real chance to dive into stuff, to change it up. And that's really like what makes everything with Sleep With Me work is going into a little of the journey of discovery. So first, let's talk about the Guild and what is the Guild. If you've never heard of it, we'll get into Wikipedia. They do have watchtheguild.com. But of course, Wikipedia is our source for everything. So I'm going to read from the Guild. Then I'll talk a little bit about how the Guild relates to Sleep With Me and it kind of the journey towards Sleep With Me and making things before you make something. Again, how we ended up where we are now. And then we'll start looking at season 1 of the Guild. When did I start Sleep With Me? 2013, right? Okay. So... Okay, The Guild is an American comedy web series created and written by Felicia Day, who stars as Sid Sherman, a.k.a. Codex. It premiered July 27, 2007, ran until 2013, and it revolves around the lives of a gamers online guild, the Knights of Good, who play countless hours of a MMORPG video game, referred to as The Game. The story focuses on Codex, the guild's priestess who attempts to lead a normal life after warlock Zabu, right? Zabu. Why do I want to say Zabu? But Zabu shows up. So I don't want to get too much into the plot, though. Okay, first seasons were uploaded to YouTube and the series website. Then it entered a partnership with one company, and episodes of the 2nd through the 5th season. Wow, this is back in the day. Xbox Live, but also Zune, and then going back to the Guild website, and now available on YouTube, iTunes. And Day wanted to keep ownership of the show, so episodes moved to Day's YouTube channel, Geek and Sundry. Also available DVD and streaming on Apple TV. And in 2013, after the end of the 6th season, Day confirmed that the web series is complete. And since its release, Guild's gotten several accolades, including Streamy Awards, not Steamy Awards, and IAWTV Awards. Okay, so basically history here is that the Guild was written and created by Felicia Day, avid gamer, in between acting roles in several American TV shows and movies. After 2 years of gaming, Day decided to make something productive of her experiences and wrote a sitcom television pilot. The series was purposely kept generic to avoid any copyright things and appeal to a wider audience of MMORPG fans. But Day wanted to base it on her experience with like a popular game, WOW, and that she was really into it. and hope to show that the stereotypical gamer living in his parents' basement is not the only kind of gamer. And then she found people to collaborate with, who would become people behind the scenes and the other performers on the show. But and then the rest of the cast was filled through auditions. They filmed the first 3 episodes in 2.5 days, and then they ran out of money. And then they did some crowdfunding, and the 4th and 5th episodes were almost solely financed by people supporting them through a payment site. And the show follows a specific format. Each episode, there's season 1 was 2007 to 2008, season 2, 2008 to 2009, season 3, 2009. Okay, this makes a lot of sense as far as my story goes. And so we're going to cover definitely season 1, and we'll go from there. So why, what is a guild, and how did the guild and Sleep With Me have any relation? So try to do the shortest version as I can, but and maybe you haven't heard part of this story before, or all of it, but, it's only going to be a partial summary. But, Sleep With Me was not the first thing I made, and I've always been a person that had these creative ideas and creative dreams. But and this is just my story, it didn't quite have, I had other stuff going on, which involves a lot of avoidance and escapism, but not escapism into creating, working on stuff. And I couldn't follow through. I didn't have much ambition. A lot of that centered around my use of alcohol. And so, I was someone who wanted to be write stuff or make a show or whatever, but I didn't have the ability to do that because of my own decisions or inability to make decisions and stuff. And at some point that slightly changed, and I said, okay, well, time is passing here, and maybe I do need to try and follow through on stuff. And I still had issues with the drinking, and but I did start to kind of follow through a little bit. And I guess this was over a couple-year process. So this probably was around 2008, I'm guessing, if that I maybe even mid 2007, but probably 2008, 2009. And so whatever, I took some writing classes at community college, mostly to meet people and to just make myself accountable. And then I started writing stuff with people from my class, outside of class, or going over other people, our own stuff. And even playing with hey, maybe we could make our own, a short film or web series or whatever with some other people. And within the people I was writing with, the guild became one point of, not for me contention, but where I was I pointed to the guild as this model of something that was doable and a scale, achievable thing, within the same scale, but that really, to me, was incredibly well done. It had, it had great characters, it had plot, it was funny, it had and it was clear that it had heart and soul. And so I was constantly bringing up the guild, and it wasn't I was, and I also worked with someone who, I don't know where, if she had told me about the guild or I discovered it. She probably did. A coworker named Marta who played WOW. And so we talk about the game. I was I can't play that because I've become, I wouldn't be, I knew I already had one thing going on. That was, I didn't need another thing where I was escape, I was already, whatever. So, and none of that stuff ever, those were just things I did. So that project never came to fruition, but it led me to make the podcast eventually. And also the timing of my like getting sober was unrelated. Well, it was on the same timeline. Like that was in 2010. So this is like 2008, 2009, early 2010, because late 2010 was when I started the podcast. And then a little bit after that, I'm getting sober. So the guild has always had this important part, because I can even remember I went through the guild's first couple episodes and I wrote down like a shot list of like every shot from the first episode and probably the second episode. And I like showed it like in a pitch. I was like, hey, look at this. This is the shot. Like, this is what it was constantly like an eye rolling for the other people. Cause I was like, look, this is what they did on the guild. Like, cause when you think about making a like web series, everybody has a different degree of like, and even the guild was probably something for us to strive for, like out of our reach anyway, which is okay. It's not like it was the first thing Felicia Day was a part of either, right? It was a culmination of everything she had done and all her collaborators had done up until that point. But whatever, like, so I was constantly like, here's the shot list of the guild. Like the first episode, I wrote down every shot that they probably took and, when they cut, what shots they cut together. And I don't even have any knowledge of any, so I don't know, like the guild somehow led me to make Sleep With Me. And just was one of those things, like, the other things at the time was, this pre-pilot was shot for Always Sunny in Philadelphia that's out there too. And I was like, that's like these are things. And then Script Notes podcast, because on Script Notes podcast, particularly at this time, John and Craig were like, hey, if you're trying to make it, make something. I mean, that's a short version of it. Like, if you're trying to break in screenwriting, also be doing something else, or be writing a ton of scripts. But like you might also have an easier path to breaking in to either TV writing or movie writing if you're making something else and that gathers attention. And then I think even one time John was like talking about, and I've talked about this in the show, but it's been a while, of like how so good they can't ignore you. I think that's the book by Cal Newport. And just the idea of that, of like, hey, just get really good at something and put it out in the world and go from there. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense. So let me get the guild fired up here. Okay, so we're going to start with episode 1, Wake Up Call. And that, again, this is like, I'm going to actually probably play the episodes on less than 1 time speed. The first episode is just under 4 minutes on YouTube on the Guild's official channel. And it opens with Codex talking to camera. Friday night, no, I don't got a job. We also see some details. I'm trying to pause it, but without it going. We see Codex's room a lot of times, which is relatable for me. But yeah, haven't been out of the house a bit. No longer working with my therapist. There's no Morlock in my living room. Sleeping on my couch. And so again, like a tease. And then I think I've talked about this in other places, like very distinct, to me at least, like theme song that now always makes me think of the Guild. And they cut to the opening, which is an animated sequence of everyone in the Guild, of each character. And it says the Guild. And then we get, I guess it's a flashback. So far we've seen a guitar and then a what's it called? A violin. But Codex is on the phone with her therapist saying, "Wait a second, you're ending this. You're letting me go as a client. Can't do that." And again, thinking of the shots over the monitor, and talking about the game, time limit 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I'm immersed in an imaginary social environment. It's not imaginary. Then the game is going on. So there's like she's on a game. Okay, so let me explain this part because so these so basically, how do I explain this? If you never played one of these games before, which I had never done, like I had talked to a coworker that played them. And I don't know if I could have done this because I'm not, I mean, I guess and I've never done it since, though I should. And I did pitch it once or twice, not for this game. But so these are these massive world, open world games, role playing games. And but you're playing with other real people at their computers in their homes. And you can do this with consoles too, but the role-playing games are a little bit more involved and in-depth. I think you can play it as an individual too, but you don't really have as much success. And the idea is, so it's most of the time it's cooperative, right? You have a guild or a party, just like if you're playing in-person RPG. But one of the main advantages of doing it on a computer is the DM in the world, at least this is my understanding, is the DM. So you don't have to have a DM either. And then you could be going against the computer or other people. And so right now they're in the middle of an action sequence in the game. Codex is their healer, but she's distracted because she's on the phone with her therapist. She's like, yeah, these are real people. Have you ever met them face to face, therapist? No, I can hear them. Oh, so you can't see their faces. And the therapist saying, you need real people. And she's like, come on, I'm in the middle of a game. Can't you call me back or whatever? And then the success, and then we see Vork is the second person we see. And he's in a work from home environment, I think, or play game from home environment in I guess what seems like a kitchen, though he may live he has a mini fridge, a microwave, and a toaster. Then we see Tinkerballa, and she is in her childhood bedroom, it seems like. And she has a stuffed animal behind her, and she's frustrated, and she's kind of really giving Codex a hard time. She uses spicy language, and then Vork says, "Guild rule number 4: no finger pointing." And then we have Blades, who's like a high school. Seems like, I don't know, like a high school male with an attitude. He breaks Guild Rule 12, which Vork says is, they doesn't say. Then they're kind of say, oh, you're the daddy figure. And then Sid, the Codex says, do we play this game too much? And everybody has their own thoughts. Blade's in like some sort of super advanced gaming chair. Then we finally meet Clara, who has a baby, and what is AFKing? AFKing must be like, I'll be back soon or something. But so she's watching her kids, kind of. She doesn't have a nanny. So again, this is all played for comedy. Remember, this is a comedy. And we see she has 3 kids. And then where's Zabu? We're going to dock him attendance points, Vork says. And he grabs some toast. But Zabu never misses a thing. He never misses anything. Does anybody know where he is? So the cool thing about this, so we're 2 minutes and 26 seconds, other than so we have a tease, from the beginning. So this is really good storytelling too. I mean, it's just incredibly efficient. So we know Codex plays the game a lot, broke up with her therapist, doesn't leave her house, somebody's sleeping on her couch. Then we get a visual representation, and we get to meet every character except for Zabu. Why can't I say Zabu? And see them and really get a sense of like a general sense and in some sense of broad strokes of who they are. We get Vork, father figure, definitely something different about him. He's also dressed up. Clara, this mom that's not super, her attention to detail, not great. Tinkerballa, who is kind of like has a attitude, and Blades, who's like kind of like a little bit of a J to the E to the R to the K. And then they say, wait a second, Zabu hasn't logged on in 39 hours. Where could he be? We get a series of shots. What the heck? And how long is that? Like 2 days? Okay. Like, oh boy. Again, we get a lot of dialogue that helps us get to know the characters better. And then we like Codex has to hop off, and she goes to answer her door, and someone says, "Hey, Sid Sherman, I got something for you." Now remember, like, so this is again like we've given. There's someone at the door with flowers. I spray painted them myself. They're beautiful. Thank you. So I did it. And it's an awkward moment. He says, you have a nice forehead. And do I know you? Of course you do. Of course we know each other. Remember, we dealt with that Wyvern last week? You resurrected me. And then it dawns on her, Gardens of Bleaklands. And she says, wait a second. She lowers, Zabu? Yep, that's right. That's me. And I'm at your doorstep. I've doorstepped you. He also has like a bunch of stuff with him. I feel like I haven't logged on in 21 hours. Doorstepped. And that episode comes to a close. And then we get to the next episode. And, of course, it's in Spanish. The closed captions for me. Okay, so episode 2 is called Zabood, Z-A-B-O-O''D. And again, we start with the same format, which is Codex talking to the camera. Okay, yeah, I've gotten to know Zabu online, like a coworker, though, that you see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours a day. And then she's like, wait a second, does he think we're kind of like more than friends? Well, he is delusional. And then we go to things. So it's almost like a little bit of like a premise setup for the episode too. Okay, then we have the title sequence with the music, which again, you'll probably love it if you haven't gotten used to it. And then we cut to her apartment, and Zabu's like walking around. Yeah, totally found your place. He's got like a very old fashioned suitcase and his laptop. And she's still holding the flowers from last episode. He's like, yeah, no, I feel like I know so much about you. Pretty cool, huh? She goes, yeah, no. We see CDs behind her. And he's like, yeah, I had to take a Greyhound for a bladdered. And she's has her arms crossed. She's like, so we've never met before, huh? And this is my house. Why are you here again? And he closes his laptop. And he says, Codex, you seem sad lately. And I came here to the physical realm, to help you. But he kind of has the wrong sense of like their friendship. She goes, yeah, no, we're just, we're online anonymous friends like that. And he says, well, let me tell you how I interpret this chat. 5:38 a.m. Are you farming? Where are you? Okay. Can I help you farm? I need some gold. I'll give you gold. It's pretty sweet of me. Well, no, don't give me any gold. Winking smile. And she's like, dude, that was a keyboard error. It was supposed to be a colon, a nice impersonal colon. And he says, she goes, I didn't hit a shift for the semicolon. And he goes, oh, maybe it was a Freudian slip. Our keyboard chemistry is undeniable. A lot of this is stuff that's pretty dated. What is it, 2006? So 20, I don't know, like, what is this, 2017? 16 years old. But I think he has to use a restroom. And she goes, yeah, it's down the hall to the left. It's interesting, too, seeing they're really just kids. I don't know, what are they, in their early 20s? And so then we're back at Codex's room. We see kind of that it's like a lot of laundry on the bed. She's back to the group. Hey, I found Zabu. Yay. And that's the end of that episode. Okay, then we go to episode 3, the macro problem. Can't remember, macro problem. Interesting. Okay, so we start with the same thing. Okay, well, I don't cope well with anything. There's always a lot of stuff going on in the game. But, at the end of the night, you can just log off the game. But you can't, as the IRL, you can't really, she's like, I'm just trying to deal with stuff, It's very relatable, I guess. At least someone like me. Okay, then we have the opening sequence again. And we see all the characters. We zoom out, the guild. Okay, then we go back to the room. Codex is saying, hey, everybody, it's still the same day. I found Zabu, yay. And Clara says, okay, where is he? And in my bathroom, I think sitting down. Oh, dear. Was he visiting you? Tinkerbell gives her a hard time. Then Zabu comes in the room. Hey, I'm at Codex's. We're going to network our computers together. Networked. And how romantic. Good to have you here, Zabu. But something just happened in the guild. Blades, tell him what happened. Yeah, it's like a LOL situation. We got a 24-hour ban. What do you mean you got a ban, Blaze? Like a Blaze is a troll. He made a macro, offensive macro. So this is again trying to go back and forth between the different generations too. And Vork's like, our guild had an untarnished reputation, the Knights of Good, related to all things good, not trolling. And as founding member, how are you going to rectify this, Blades? And Blades doesn't answer. He logged off probably. And let's get back to work. And guild business is sidetracked. Works like, this is serious. And we see Zabu has a Photoshop picture of him and Codex. And then Codex hops on, hey, can we meet him in person about this to talk about it? So again, call back to the first episode. Everyone's like, what? Like in person in the real world? Vork thinks about it, says in person twice. Zabu's here, and I'm not sure what to do anyway. We're a local guild, so, why haven't we met already? Vork is like cooking making a BLT on like a plug-in skillet. We could all use some time away from the keyboard. Clara, when's the last time you went out with anybody other than your kids? Yeah, let's do brunch. I love pancakes. And I say, okay, well, yeah, we got to come up with a plan to deal with Blades anyway. And also, like, I don't want, Fork says, and then Codex knows him. So she goes, why don't you draft an agenda? That would be helpful. Tink, no way. She goes, I prefer know you anonymously. And Codex says, I'll pay you 15 in-game gold. She says, we need to meet tomorrow, though. Forming a socially approved support system. And the Vork says, somewhere with a low price point. I didn't budget for social activities. And all right, the guild's going to meet. Zabu appears with a wizard hat on and talks about his dexterity. And Prefects is, he spends a lot of time trying to be like, is a really good character. And that episode comes to a close. And next up was Delicate. After that was Abu and his joking around. This episode's 5 minutes long. He didn't have a shirt on, but I had to tell him the parameters. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Or maybe I reacted in a different way. I don't know. Okay, it's time for us to go to the meeting. And then Zabu can head home, wherever that is. Hopefully we could do this without, too much stress. Then she stares at the camera. Really great pause. Then we have the opening sequence. And we see all the characters. Scroll by them, zoom out. Music's playing in the background, the guild. Then we see Coda, like a green Honda Civic. Even that's a good rate detail, even if it was one of their cars, and parking somewhere. Seems like LA. And Zabu's talking about something and she says, I look to get everywhere a half hour early. He goes, why? And then we see Codex, Clara, oh, hi, big hugs. They all hug Zabu. And she says, do you recognize my voice? And she said, no. Zabu, this is when there was just flip phones. He puts on lip balm, nice use of lip balm. They head towards the restaurant. Blades isn't coming. Vork didn't want to invite him. Got to firewall our priorities. Zabu runs down the street saying, Zabu. And then they go to the restaurant. Cheese something. Cheesy Beards. You ready to be seated? Cheesy Beards. To air is to human. Something else. We're just meeting people first. And there's a specials board. And Vork's sitting there already seated. And Tinkerbell is playing a Nintendo DS and ignoring them. I haven't decided if I'm going to hang out with you guys or not yet. So don't talk to me yet. Whereas Vork, what's his character's name? He's a dancer, so metalworking skills in real life, Zabu. I don't know what he does in real life. And he's like, I just had to disagree with you, Codex. That's good. That's good for our relationship. So what about that guy over there? Never thought Vork would be in a suit. He's so confident on the mic. He doesn't look super confident at this moment. All right, so we get the entry into the thing, a little more character interaction. Vork is talking into a tape recorder about the game, I think. Like, do you think that's really him? Yeah, it is. Tinkerballa. Vork Codex, Sid, that's not short for anything. Greetings, guildies. I'm Herman, but you call me Vork. I'll respond to it better. And she's like, okay, wait, you look different than I expected, too. This is Zabu. More introductions, basically. And Clara's avatar and her real name are the same. Tried an alias, but it was Mominatrix, and my kids started saying it, so I had to change it. And Tinkerballa says, that's my real name, too. And they go, really? Okay, well, I have the agendas. It's great that we spent 6 hours a day together and we finally meet faces to voices. This is something with podcasting, too, where it's like, wait a second, you're a human? That's what you look like? So, okay, there's a lot of good awkward moments, and like they don't know how to talk to each other. So then they start talking about the game again, like epic items, and that episode comes to a close. And we're at episode 5. Rather be dancing. The guild helped me talk to Zabu, and they say, we're just friends, so pack up your stuff and go. But then she's only talking to the camera. She's not being honest. Because then he comes in and he's like, I'm making dinner with oven mitts. She says, okay, bye. She goes, yeah, I was lying to my webcam for my diary. That's like a real highlight of the acting, I think. So, okay, so then we see the opening, says the guild. Then we're back to the restaurant. Everyone's ordering, talking about kind of their backstories. They're now in booths and their jobs, which may or may not be true. Tinkerballa kind of talks about a job, which sounds a little bit like the plot to a TV show that was out at the time. Oh, what a coincidence. Vork, my character's a metal. What about you? She goes, I'm a violinist. I was a child prodigy. Prodigy? No, I'm not. No, but really, what do you do in real life? And he goes, right now, not much. This is my grandfather's suit. I live in my grandfather's house. And maybe I still live on his income. And Vork kind of like just again, Zabu and I. So anyway, they go back and forth. And all right, this is like fun. Like we're gonna, this is our friendship now. Okay. And then Codex says, Zabu, could you go get my sweater from my car? He goes, oh, a quest. Okay. I'll do it. And then she makes this big fake smile and she says, by the way, he just showed up at my place. And I said, well, I thought you two liked each other. It seemed like that way online. Everyone else thinks that. And she's like, it's just a semicolon. Can you help me to explain to me? Then we just see, there's just a great comedy. You got to watch it to see some of the comedy and the writing about saving money. 12 into $2.95. Deli Deluxe slices 24.5 cents. Bringing your cheese saves 75.5 cents. And you can pay me accordingly. So they're just joking. Cheese. Forget the cheese. Cut the cheese out. Laughing. Okay, listen, how do I get Zabu to understand? He's already back. Your cloak, milady, plus 15 to frost. Thought of that joke on the way over. Okay, then Vork's like, this is enough socialization. I've got a collated agenda. Blaze is a founding member. but his attendance is an attitude less than stellar. And what are we going to do? Well, he doesn't behave. Claire's right in theory. And then Blades shows up, and Zabu knows him. And Blades is trying to be like smooth, but he comes across as like not cool. And says, yeah, I saw the Cheesy Beard's meeting to discuss Blades. I saw the post. You going to kick me out of the thing? Okay, after all the hours I put in. And it wasn't just about you. It was about getting to know each other. He goes, oh, well, so you left me out. And they said, we got your back, Blades. And he goes, well, the entire guild bank is transferred to my character, so I have all the guild gold, the guild equipment. And see you later. Then we find out Blades is like younger sibling is like, get moving, dad's waiting for you in the car. Are these your internet friends? And he says to her, you ruined my exit, Dina. So maybe he's even middle school age. I don't even know. They're like, why did you transfer the guild bank to Blades, Vork? And that's a great move. Now we're really in trouble. He goes, in Management 2.0, you trust all your widgets. And he says, clear blue ocean, which I guess is like one of his things. Tried to strengthen the weakest chain to strengthen us as a whole. So Blade says everything, the gold, the loot, 6 months of material. Can't believe this. Why did you let him drive the bus? And talk and get a little more stuff about the characters. And that episode ends. So I guess what I'll do is we'll cover episode 6, and then we'll go from 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I don't know if we'll start in the next episode, maybe go into season 2. Okay, so this one, again, we have Codex, Zabu. Maybe I should check my spam folder and just email somebody that spams me. Can you help me with the warlock on my couch? And then we have the opening sequence. See all the characters that now we've gotten to know better. By this time, you're definitely looking forward to hearing the music. And then the Codex and Zabu come in. I can't believe this with Blaze. But Tink and Blades are close, or maybe she could talk to him. And again, there's still miscommunication on their friendship. She goes, you know what, you got to leave. He goes, how are we going to form a codependency together? And she goes, look, I was just broke up with somebody, so. And he goes, oh, that cello guy, right? You were celloed him. And she goes, I don't want to talk about it. And she was like, yeah, that was the first chair oboist, Gunther, and oboed. I don't know. Maybe video game. Maybe this is all me because of video games, but playing too many video games. Then they actually hug because she's like, for a second, like, man. But then she says, okay, you got to go back to wherever you live. This is my place. And he goes, okay, done. And he goes, I'll go pack my stuff. And I get it. He's a little down. And she goes, yeah. I mean, I still like you as a friend, but his suitcase is a little different. But he goes, okay, sorry about that. Take my picture, take my suitcase, and I'm going to hit the road. And then they're back, working as a thing, talking about keeping the loot. Is that how you run the guild now? Hey, Codex is like, hey, come on, everybody's arguing. Okay, we need you and Zabu. Well, Zabu can't log on right now. And okay, we gotta make things happen faster. And we got to get Blades back too. And we got to open up negotiations for the Guild Bank, so I don't leave the house. But Zabu's upset, and no nanny for Clara. Somebody's IMing me. That used to be a thing, like a group chat. Come on, too many gnomes. But I'm a gnome. And I don't see a note. Her kids are playing with the notes. So, yeah, we're going back and forth, more and more. Belle and Gabby are two of the kids, Ham and Crayons, and no one cares about. So there's like a lot of back and forth. I got to get a nanny. So that's Clara's need right now. And Tink's like, here, why don't you just hire somebody? And Vork says, the nannies earn between $8 and $12 an hour. I could be a nanny for a comparable price. And then Tink's competitive. So she goes, I'll do it. And Tink, Kodak's like, you're not very maternal. And they say, well, we got to figure out Blades. Vork's like, I need that money. I spent all that money on Cheesy Beards, 1087, and know that number well. Well, Vork, and Tink says, yeah, but I'm come on. So then Codex goes, there's a knock at the door, and then there's a woman at the door. She says, where's my son? I know he's in here. I tracked his GPS. I thought he took the bus. And then Zabu goes, Mom, what are you doing here? Codex and I are in love. And the mom has a very serious look on her face, and the episode comes to a close. And so we will get back to season 1 of the Guild soon. Good night, everybody. All right, I want to thank everybody who recently joined Sleep With Me Plus or moved over from Patreon. Sam, Allison, and John, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Robert, Andrea, and Laura, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Christy, Emily, and Audrey, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Adam, Aaron, and Christina, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Allison, Jenny, and Luce, thanks, and good night. Rebecca, Daphne, and Cameron, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jake and Tamara and Simon, thank you. Thanks, and good night. James, Jonathan, and Mary, thanks, and good night. Monica, Daniel, and Amanda, thank you. Thanks, and good night. And Krista, Paul, and Erica, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks for everybody who supports the show directly on Apple Podcasts or through other means. Couldn't do without you. Really appreciate the support. And, those of you who support our sponsors or support the show by spreading the word or support the show in the past, I really appreciate it. It enables us to talk all these people in who are already sweet talked in. And here might be future scoots or past scoots talking about weekend review or something else. Thanks and good night, everybody.